Hello and welcome. It's me, your Admiral. For best results, I suggest you full screen this because not only will you be looking at me on the little screen here, I use the mouse and my fingers, I'll be bringing stuff up. Like, for example, popping this, no, wrong, here. If we jump over to, let's say, the Doctor Who wiki. Right, so, here we are. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the universe. The Sci-Fi universe, to be a little more precise. Now, let me give you a brief overview of what this is. Now, you could take this as one of two things, and I'd prefer the what's the word? The latter, and not the former. Because the former is just like an everyday thing, and I would appreciate if you consider this a little bit more than your everyday thing. And by thing I'm about to explain. You could, and quite easily, just pass this off as just another fan fiction hopes of what things could have been like when the writers of all the different things came together. And that's, of course, the first option, the one that I don't enjoy quite as much, because it doesn't allow you as the viewers to take this in as something that not might have happened, but something that can happen. Because when we talk about science fiction here, we're using the term sci-fi a little more objectively. It's only fiction to us right now, as we know it. And that's a prime example. I mean, naturally, most fiction is based in fact somewhere, something that could be happening. Take something that is or isn't, that we're going to cover a lot later. Look at Stargate. Stargate SG-1 takes place in Cheyenne Mountain, which is a real place. NORAD is a real complex. But that's where the discrepancy is. Do you believe that they made the show for plausible deniability, or do you believe that the show is just a show? And, of course, we're not conspiracy theorists. We're not going to go blaming the government or anything like that. Nothing rash. But I'd like to approach this not as if it's some sort of crazy fan fiction or science fiction, but something that could well and truly be happening. Now, you can put that in the back of your mind for all I care. But it's just that I would rather this be taken as possible fact, but always take it with a little pinch of salt. And keep it in the back of your mind that we're just extrapolating from what we know in terms of what science fiction could be, or what science fact could be. Now, let me introduce myself. I am Ellis DiBiasio Tamelio, otherwise known as Admiral Ellis DiBiasio Tamelio. And I just prefer to be called Ellis, or Train Man, or whatever. You can certainly call me Ellis in the comments. Call me Ellis when you email your questions to admiralellis@gmail.com. Which I'll get to at the end of the episode. What was I going to say? I'm pretty much covered everything that I really want to get off for starters. And here is where we break away from reality, so to speak. I'm always going to be using the terms reality and sci-fi very loosely on this weekly show. This is where we break away from reality, or what normal people perceive as reality. I am a member of the TTO, which is short for the Time Travelers Organization, something that I'll get to a lot later, and that's what connects most things in the sci-fi universe, as I like to call it. Meaning it's all one. We're not going to say there's the Halo universe, and there's the Doctor Who universe, and there's the Stargate universe, and there's the Star Trek universe, and there's Star Wars universe. I just was going to cover a lot of things there. There's a lot of things to cover, which is why this isn't going to be a one-time ordeal, which is why you guys subscribed. If you didn't, I'd like you to do that if you appreciate this video so far, or will appreciate it in the future. Ow. Now, today I have a few things that I'd like to cover. Well, back to. I am very bad with continuing thoughts. I tend to just jump from one thing to another, which is why it could be prudent to take notes if you really want to, understand what's going on here. If not, you can always ask a question in the comments that I'll get to pretty immediately, and I will answer the question as best possible in my little 500 character blurb. But if you really want me to get in-depth about something like, let's say, how does the Covenant from Halo, how does that relate to... How does the Covenant how does the Covenant relate to Star Trek? And where do they... Just you could throw me a bone like that. Just say, how does the Covenant relate to Star Trek? How does Doctor Who relate to Stargate? Something like that. That you'd send me in an email, and then I'd answer it in the next episode, which would be next Saturday. The email is going to be posted in the description. Alright, so, the things I'd like to cover this week in particular, I'm going to pop on here. So let me grab over here. So, let's see. Here's one of them. There we go. And let's head on over to this and type in the other thing that I really want to go through today. Now, of course, there is the description in... If you're not familiar with each of these universes, this is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy realm of things, and then there's the Doctor Who realm of things, which is quite obvious because I mentioned it when I was logging into this wiki. Goodbye. Now, we have the Weeping Angels, and more importantly, now it's naturally, screw you, shut up, computer performance is fine. Naturally we have things about, we as Doctor Who fans, those of you that are Doctor Who fans, it may be prudent to call up all of the knowledge you have. Yes, no, I know, it's fine. All of the knowledge that you have about the Weeping Angels, because the TTO inevitably has more. Also, we're going to get into the history of the TTO at the end of this episode, which is where things really, really get confusing. Because that's when everything comes together, which is difficult. Here we go. The Weeping Appearance, eradicating their victims mercifully by dropping them into the past and let them live out their full lives. Just in a different time period, this in turn allows them to live off the remaining time energy of the victim's life. Now, oh, yeah, that's also nice. Angels were known to kill by other means, such as snapping their victims' necks, for when they need bodies. Now, the thing they do not talk about necessarily is, well, there's a thing about here about grew older, grew weaker, but there's how to kill one. And, of course, if you look at one, let me go over a little bit about the angels if you don't feel like reading here. They're, quantum-locked, humanoid-shaped statues type things. But they're not statues when you're not looking at them and then they come after you and they teleport you back in time and they feed off the energy of all the days that you would have lived. They live on time energy. Excuse me. But if you kill a weeping angel, as in when it's stone, if you shatter the stone, it will eventually absorb enough energy to reform. But when you kill a weeping angel, it releases a lot of time energy, such that you know, you get it can create problems. If you kill a lot of weeping angels in one place, it will create oh geez, what the hell? Why? No, screw you. That was a little weird. This is my first time doing this. I didn't really do any testing beforehand. Sorry about that. So we have the weeping angels. Now, the way to kill a weeping angel and keep it dead is to kill it, let it release its time energy into the universe, and before that energy coalesces and either reforms the angel, or if there's too much of it, breaks the universe, literally punches a hole in the universe, which can break into the void between universes and then inevitably destroy our universe, or make a stable or unstable bridge between our universe and a neighboring universe. But the way to kill a weeping angel is, before all that time energy disperses or collects or does whatever, you collect it and you store it in something. Now, the TTO uses a number of what we call time ships. They're spaceships gathered from different points in history and equipped with time drives, which are like your ordinary star drive, like a hyperdrive or a warp drive or something like that. But instead, it allows ships to travel through time by enveloping them in time energy and transporting them through the time vortex and out of the... well, through an area that's out of the universe and then back into the universe at some point in time that had been determined. Now, that's the Weeping Angels, and I'd like to talk about the Vogons also, and this is where we get into the issue of galactic politics.